Let's move further. Let's learn the next level of testing, integration testing. So what is integration testing? The independent modules that have been coded by these programmers should be integrated and then tested as a system. Or else, in other words, integration testing is the testing of interfaces between the components. How your system actually, how the interfaces of your system work with other systems. How your system's interface works with the operating system. This is the main focus with respect to integration testing. So let's again take a scenario. We have Jeff, we have Chris, and both of them have coded. So he has finished the HTML code and he has finished the JavaScript method, and they have also unit tested that. So for unit testing, they used say basis part testing to identify all the independent parts, write test cases and test. So their independent units of code are ready. So what next? Time has come for us to integrate these two pieces and check how their systems really work. How integration testing can happen is, maybe Jeff can get the JavaScript file from Chris, integrate that with his HTML file and check, or Chris can get the HTML code from Jeff, integrate that with his JavaScript method and check. So let's assume that Jeff gets the JavaScript method from Chris. He's going to integrate that with his HTML code and check. I'll show you how that integration will be done. So this HTML file has been completed by Jeff. Let's go and look at this file. So in this file, he has used a test JavaScript file and a test method. And now is that he has received the JavaScript file from Chris. He can go and view the code of that file. And he knows that the method that he should use is compare. So he can go and change the test method to the actual method. So Chris has coded this method, so he's going to say compare. He's going to call the compare method, and the test.js file will be now changed as real file, that is add.js.js. So he has finished integrating his code with whatever Chris has supplied, and we don't need this test call here. And there's one more thing that needs to be changed. If you take a look at this particular piece of code, Chris has been using some sample test values, whereas these values should be coming from the input HTML file from Jeff. So the values for this method should be coming from the form that Jeff has coded. So how will you integrate, or how will you get the values from a form in JavaScript? For that, these two lines of code should be added. So that is, we'll be getting the form values directly here into number 1 and number 2. So now we see here, what we are trying to do here is, we are trying to integrate these two separate pieces of code written by these two users. So the value of the first number from the form will be passed to num1, and the value of the second number from the form will be passed to num2. So we have done our integration, and I believe that the integration is complete. Now we can go ahead and test the system as one entire system. So we can go and run this code in the browser. We can test this system as an integrated system. So now they will be testing the system as an integrated system. So how they are going to test this system is, they are going to run a series of test cases. So it's not just like some entering some random input and checking for random output. We're going to have a formal way of testing. We're going to run all the test cases again. So from where we get the test cases, from the unit testing they have done, they already have the test cases. They're going to again take the test cases and run it on their system. So let's start testing this system using the test cases again. The very first test case says enter 3 and 2, and the result should be first number is greater. So he's going to enter 3 and 2, submit. So he's getting first number is greater. So this is the actual output. This matches the expected result. So what is the actual output we're getting? First number is greater. And since the actual result matches the expected result, test case has passed. Well, let's go and execute the second test case. It says enter second number to be greater than the first number. So we have to give 2 and 3, and the expected output is second number is greater. Let's go and give that. So let's give 2 and 3 here. submit. So second number is greater as usual, and we are getting a defect here. There's a spelling mistake sitting here. So what is the actual result we are getting? It is second number is, there is a spelling mistake here. It's CREETR. This is the actual output we are getting. This is not matching the expected output. So we'll say test case failed. So this test case failed, this test case passed. It's going to execute another test case here. Enter two equal numbers and press submit. So we're going to enter 2 and 2 and we're going to press submit here. So both numbers are not equal. So we're getting another issue here, that both numbers are not equal is the message that is getting displayed. We'll go and capture that. What we are getting here, both numbers are not equal. It says numbers are not equal, but what is the expected output? Both numbers are equal should be displayed. So there is a defect in the code. So we'll say this test case failed. And are there any more test cases? Okay, here we are entering two invalid numbers. The range is greater than 100 and lesser than 1. And what is the expected output? Invalid number should be printed. Let's go and check this test case. So it's 300 and minus 2. We'll press submit and it says invalid number. So what is the output we are getting here? Invalid number. So since the actual result from the system matches the expected result, we'll say passed. And now we have a fifth test case, that is submit the form without entering any values. When no data is entered, what we have to say, please fill the field, message should be displayed. So this is one of the criteria that the user says. It's mandatory for the users to enter a number for comparison. So we'll just go and submit it without entering the actual thing. But then it says invalid number. So what is the expected output? Please fill the field. What is the actual output we are getting? Invalid number. So here the actual result is not matching the expected result. So we'll say the test case failed. So when you take a look at the test cases, we have many test cases that has failed. Unless and until the programmer fixes all the test cases and these test cases pass, we will not approve the code to the next level of testing. So we have found some defects in the code. So these are defects because the system is not behaving the way it should be behaving, because the system is not giving an output that is expected. So how we'll fix this is, we'll call the programmer Chris, we'll inform him about the defects. So Chris will be knowing all these defects, and since he has coded the module, he should go and revise the module. Again, he has to perform unit testing, execute this test of set of test cases, and then they have to integrate it. Again, they have to execute the set of test cases. Now Chris is informed of the defects and he will be trying to fix the code. Let's see how Chris fixes the code. So he knows that that's the spelling mistake there. So he just fixes the code. So one of the fix is done. And the next fix is both numbers are equal should be displayed, but the message is both numbers are not equal. So he just goes and fixes that too. So the message is being corrected here. So he fixes the second thing. And there's one more thing. Enter two valid numbers. This test case pass, no issues. Whereas when you talk about the form, when we submit some when we submit a blank form, it is accepting that and it is passing that to the JavaScript function. So this defect should be rectified by Jeff, who has coded the HTML form. So Jeff will be informed of this defect, and how Jeff is going to fix this is, he will go to his code, and so how Jeff is going to fix that, we'll see. Say in HTML5 we have this attribute required, which makes a field required, right? So we can just make it required from here. So Jeff is going to fix this, and so both of these programmers, after fixing the code, they'll be running all the unit test cases on their code. So once, let's say that unit test cases are done, they'll again go and integrate their code and they'll go for integration testing. Let's run the test cases for integration testing again. So once after all the changes have been done, they have to again run the test cases for integration testing. So let's clear all the ink on the side. So this is the catch here. When you're running the test cases, you have to run all the test cases again. Not only the test cases that have failed, even the test cases that have been passed should also be run to test whether the changes have impacted any part of your system. So let's go and test our system again. So we'll enter 3 and 2. First number is greater than second number should be displayed. So this was working fine in a previous test. Okay. So they'll capture the result, and this is matching the expected result. So we'll say this has passed. And the second test case is about second number to be a greater value. So 2 and 3 we have to enter. So let's enter 2 and 3 and let's submit. Second number is greater. Now the output matches the expected result. So we'll say this is passed. Actually, we should copy that here. Okay, for time constraint, I'm not writing it here. And enter two equal numbers. We'll take two equal numbers here, and then we'll submit. So both numbers are equal. So that too matches. So this test case also passed. And so we'll go and execute the next set of test cases. We'll pop in some invalid numbers, 300 and -2. We'll see how the system behaves for our input. So let's submit. So it says invalid number. So the actual result matches the expected result. So we'll say this has passed, and we'll just enter a blank form and see what is the output. So let's go and submit a blank form here. So it says please fill out this field, and that is actually matching the expected result. So this also has passed. So we can say all the test cases have been passed in our integration testing, and this system has been approved, or we can say this system is approved for the next level of testing, that is called the system testing. So you have to understand one important thing here. That is, when you perform integration tests and you get a defect, you'll be informing the concerned programmer, and that concerned programmer will fix the code. Again, you'll be doing regression testing. So by regression testing, you will check whether the changes that he has made to the code has really impacted any other part of the code. So he's again going to run all the test cases that he has used for unit testing, test his code, and then he will go with the next level of integration testing. Again, they should run all the test cases to ensure that nothing has been impacted, and then they have to go with the final approval for the system. So again, when he is integration testing, if he gets another defect, so again he'll be informed, and he should go and unit test, again run all the test cases, and when all the test cases in unit testing satisfy, you will be pushed to integration testing. Again, all the test cases should be run, and then the final approval can be given. So this is really a time consuming task. This is how it is done. So every time you submit a code with defects, you have to run a lot of test cases to ensure that the code is free from all these defects. And this is not only time consuming, this is also going to consume a lot of your budget. So it is very important that we invest all our time in developing something that is right, that works fine in the very first time. Because when you iterate, when you go in this iteration, we are going to lose a lot of budget, we are going to lose a lot of our resources on testing the product. So that is integration testing. I hope that you have understood how integration testing is performed with this simple demo. I have taken a very simple demo because a complex demo itself will complicate the understanding of the concepts. So we'll learn one more terminology before we wind up this session, that is white box testing. So what is white box testing? We say that unit testing and integration testing comes under the category called as white box testing. A white box testing is nothing but testing the internal structure of the code, testing the internal data structures, testing the loops, testing the independent paths. It deals with testing the internal details of the code, and this is called white box testing. And we say unit testing and integration testing comes under white box testing because white box testing is done by developers. They know the internals of the code, they can go and read the code, they can go and understand the paths in the code, and they can go and test the code. And these two And that's why we say unit testing and integration testing comes under white box testing. So in interviews, if they ask you what is white box testing, you can very well say testing the internal structure of the code, which is mostly being performed by developers, and integration testing and unit testing are categorized as white box testing. With that, let us come to an end of this session. I hope you all have understood the scenario and the examples. Thank you.